I was in Costa Rica when the first notification arrived. Not vacationing, working. 6 weeks managing the opening of our company's satellite office. Something I'd mentioned exactly twice to my family before leaving. Both times, Dad had responded with the same tight smile that meant he wasn't really listening. The email subject line read, "Zillow alert. Property matching your portfolio." I almost deleted it as spam. Then I saw the address. 4237 Coastal Highway. My beach house. Listed for sale. $875,000. Open house scheduled for Saturday. My beach house that I'd purchased 3 years ago with my bonus. The one I'd renovated myself over 18 months, learning tile work on YouTube at 2 a.m. The property generating $4,200 monthly through Airbnb, booked solid March through October. I opened the listing. Professional photos I'd never authorized. The description mentioned owner relocating abroad. A convenient fiction. My hands didn't shake. They went very still, the way they do when your brain needs all available resources to process something impossible. Then I saw the listing agent's name. Marcus Webb. My father's golfing buddy for 20 years. I called Marcus directly. "This is Natalie Chen. Why is my property listed for sale?" Silence. Then, "Your father said you'd approved everything. He has power of attorney." I never granted him power of attorney. He showed me documents. Notarized. I thought about the gambler's fallacy then, how I'd kept believing if I just proved myself enough, achieved enough, my family would finally see me as competent. Every milestone was a slot machine. Every success a coin dropped into a mechanism that never paid out. The next call went to my attorney. Then to Airbnb's fraud prevention hotline. Then to the county recorder's office. By the time I'd finished, it was 11 p.m. in Costa Rica, 2 a.m. back home. I didn't sleep. I tracked every digital footprint of the fraud instead. The Airbnb system was elegant in its efficiency. My property had 47 5-star reviews, 312 completed bookings over 3 years, superhost status for 18 consecutive quarters. Their verification system cross-referenced ownership records automatically. The moment Zillow's listing appeared, their algorithm flagged the discrepancy. Property showing active rental income. Property listed for sale by different party. Property ownership records not matching seller information. Airbnb's legal team had already frozen my listing by dawn, not as punishment but as protection. They'd contacted the title company handling the sale. They'd pulled 3 years of transaction records. They'd documented $156,000 in rental income flowing to my business account, not my father's. I got the call at 6 a.m. Costa Rica time. Airbnb's senior fraud investigator, a woman named Patricia Odom. "Ms. Chen, we need to discuss your property at 4237 Coastal Highway." "That's my property. I never authorized a sale." "We know. We've already contacted local authorities. But I need to understand the timeline." I told her everything. How I'd mentioned the Costa Rica project. How Dad had said, 6 weeks abroad must be nice. How that tight smile had appeared again, the one that made me feel like a child playing pretend at business. Patricia's voice went cold and professional. "Your father forged a power of attorney document. He's been planning this for at least 3 weeks based on the listing preparation timeline. The realtor claims ignorance, but the documents your father provided wouldn't pass basic notary verification. What happens now? We've flagged the listing with every major real estate platform. We've notified the title company that the sale is fraudulent. We've documented 3 years of your legitimate property management. And we've forwarded everything to the district attorney's office." She paused. "Ms. Chen, in 15 years doing fraud prevention, I've seen a lot of property theft. But family members stealing rental properties with verified income streams? They usually wait until the owner is actually gone. Your father scheduled the closing for next week, while you're still abroad and able to contest it. He wasn't even patient enough to wait for the crime to be feasible. That's when I understood. He didn't need me permanently gone. He just needed me distracted long enough. 6 weeks felt like forever to him. Long enough to close a sale, transfer funds, create a fait accompli. By the time I returned, my beach house would be someone else's problem, and he'd present me with whatever story he'd constructed. Probably something about saving it from foreclosure I didn't know about. Or protecting it from a lawsuit he'd invented. The details wouldn't matter. The point was I'd have lost and he'd have won. I booked a flight home for the next morning. The open house was scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. I arrived at 1:45. Marcus Webb's luxury sedan was already parked in my driveway, the driveway I'd repaved last summer. The lockbox hung on my front door. I didn't use it. I used my key. Inside, my beach house looked strange. Marcus had staged it, removing my personal items, adding generic coastal decor. My bookshelves were bare. The photographs I'd hung were gone. Even my coffee maker had vanished from the kitchen counter. They'd erased me from my own property. I heard voices outside. Marcus greeting early arrivals. My father's laugh. That booming sound he used when he wanted to seem generous and expansive. I walked out onto the deck. The ocean stretched gray-blue to the horizon. I'd bought this place for this view, for the sound of waves at night, for the feeling of building something that was completely mine. Marcus saw me first. His face went white. "Natalie, you're supposed to be in Costa Rica." "I am in Costa Rica," I said calmly. "This is a very vivid hallucination you're having." Dad turned. His expression cycled through surprise, confusion, then settled on irritation. "What are you doing here?" "I live here." "What are you doing here?" "Don't be dramatic. We can discuss this privately." "We're discussing it now. In front of your realtor friend. Who's about to explain why he listed my property without my authorization." Marcus started stammering about documents, notarization, power of attorney. I let him finish. Then I pulled out my phone. "These are emails from Airbnb's legal team. This property has generated $156,000 in rental income over 3 years. Every dollar deposited into my business account. Every transaction documented. Every guest review verified. The IRS has 3 years of my Schedule E showing this income." I opened another screen. "This is the county recorder's office. The deed is in my name. Has been since I purchased the property in April 2022. I never granted power of attorney to anyone." Marcus went paler. "Your father showed me notarized documents." "Forged notarized documents," I said. "Airbnb's fraud prevention team flagged this listing 18 hours ago. They've already contacted the title company. The escrow account was frozen this morning." Dad finally spoke. "This is a misunderstanding. You weren't communicating clearly from Costa Rica, so I stepped in to help." "Help with what?" "You can't manage a property from abroad." "I was protecting your investment." "By selling it without my knowledge? By forging legal documents? By pocketing $875,000 that isn't yours? It's for your brother's education." There was the logic that made sense in his universe. My earnings existed to subsidize my brother's life. My beach house, purchased with my bonuses, renovated with my hands, managed with my time, all of it just resources to be redistributed to the son who mattered. The first potential buyers arrived. A couple in their 60s, excited about retiring near the ocean. Marcus tried to intercept them, but I walked over first. "I'm Natalie Chen. I own this property. It's not for sale. The listing is fraudulent. My attorney is filing charges against the seller for forgery and attempted theft. I'm sorry you wasted your time." The woman's face fell. The man immediately pulled out his phone, probably calling his real estate agent. More cars were arriving. Each time I repeated the same information. Not for sale. Listing fraudulent. Police involved. By 2:30, 15 potential buyers had heard the story. Several had taken photos of Dad and Marcus. One couple mentioned they were real estate attorneys. Another said his daughter was a reporter. Dad grabbed my arm. "Stop embarrassing yourself." I looked at his hand on my arm, then at his face. "Let go. We need to talk privately." "We're done talking. Privately or otherwise." Marcus was on his phone, probably with his broker. His voice carried across the deck. "She's here. The actual owner." "No, she definitely didn't authorize." "Yes, I understand, he showed me documents." I'd spent 3 years building this. Not just the property value but the system. Guest communications, cleaning schedules, maintenance logs, review responses. I'd learned plumbing, electrical basics, HVAC troubleshooting. I'd handled difficult guests at 3 a.m., fixed broken appliances, repainted entire rooms. All while Dad called it my little rental hobby. The ghost ledger started writing itself in my mind, The emotional accounting beyond the financial fraud. The ghost ledger. Item. Every family dinner where I mention property management and dad changed the subject. Cost. My expertise made invisible. Item. Thanksgiving when I explained my superhost status and mom asked why I didn't get a real job. Cost 3 years of work dismissed. Item. The weekend I spent replacing the deck boards alone while brother got $5,000 for startup expenses. Cost. Equality never recovered. Item. Dad telling his friends I was figuring things out abroad, while literally selling my success from under me. Cost. My competence erased from family narrative. Item. Every time I proved something and the goalposts moved. The house I bought became a little rental. The $4,200 monthly income became a hobby. The $156,000 over 3 years became money I couldn't possibly need. Cost. The belief that achievement would matter. The police arrived at 3:15 p.m. I'd called them an hour earlier. 2 officers, one holding a tablet showing my previous report. Ms. Chen? We spoke this morning. This is my father. He's the one who forged the power of attorney. Dad tried charm first. Officers, this is a family misunderstanding. My daughter is overreacting to a simple estate planning conversation. The shorter officer checked her notes. Sir, did you list this property for sale? With her best interests in mind, yes. Did Ms. Chen authorize you to do so? Pause. She was abroad and difficult to reach. That's not what I asked. She'll come around once she understands the full picture. The taller officer spoke up. Sir, we've been in contact with Airbnb's fraud prevention team. They've documented 3 years of Ms. Chen actively managing this property. She's been receiving rental income corresponding with guests and filing taxes on the proceeds. The title company has confirmed she never authorized a sale. The notary whose seal appears on your power of attorney documents has confirmed she never notarized anything for you. Dad's face went hard. This is absurd. I'm her father. That doesn't grant you ownership rights, sir. Marcus tried to leave. The officer stopped him. Mr. Webb, we need to discuss your role in this transaction. I was shown documents, Marcus said quickly. I'm a victim here too. Did you verify those documents with Ms. Chen directly? Her father said she was traveling and couldn't be reached. But you have her contact information. You're listing her property. Marcus went silent. The procedural justice system clicked forward with bureaucratic inevitability. Evidence collection. Police photographed the forged power of attorney. Airbnb provided 3 years of transaction records. The title company handed over the entire sale file. I gave them my original purchase documents, renovation receipts, tax returns. Immediate action. The listing was removed from all platforms. The escrow account was frozen pending investigation. Marcus Webb's broker suspended his license pending ethics review. Investigation timeline. District Attorney's Office opened case file 2024 for 8847. Forgery charges, attempted theft by fraud, real estate fraud. Each carried 2 to 5 year sentences. Dad's defense. Family matter, no criminal intent. Prosecutor's response. $875,000 in attempted theft shows clear intent. Title company statement. We process 3,000 transactions annually. This was the first where the actual property owner appeared at the open house to contest the sale. Airbnb's report. Subject property shows consistent management, excellent performance metrics and verified ownership. Sale listing incompatible with legitimate owner behavior. Marcus Webb's statement. I relied on documentation provided by seller. I should have verified directly with property owner. I accept responsibility for due diligence failure. Formal charges. Filed 6 days after the attempted open house. Forgery, fraud, grand theft by fraud. Arraignment scheduled. Over the next 3 weeks the consequences cascaded. Marcus Webb lost his real estate license. 23-year career ended. His broker settled with me privately, $50,000 for their negligent verification process. I donated it to a non-profit supporting first-time homebuyers. Dad's bail was set at $25,000. Mom called me crying. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. How can you do this to your father? As if I'd forged the documents. As if I'd listed someone else's property. As if I'd planned to steal nearly $1 million. Brother called once. Can't you just drop the charges? He was trying to help me. He was stealing from me to fund your education. That's not help. That's theft with extra steps. Family should support each other. Then why didn't you support me when I bought this place? When I renovated it? When I built a business you all called a hobby? He hung up. The bank contacted me about mortgage fraud concerns. Dad had apparently told them he was selling his daughter's property with her permission, to secure a loan against it. That triggered additional investigation. More charges filed. 3 months later, Dad pleaded guilty to avoid trial. Forgery, attempted fraud. 18 months supervised probation, $75,000 restitution, 200 hours community service. He'd also pay all my legal fees. Another $18,000. The restitution wasn't for money I'd lost. It was for diminished property value from the fraudulent listing, for lost rental income during the investigation period, for emotional damages the court deemed substantial and documentable. Marcus Webb settled separately. Another $30,000 for his professional negligence. His broker's insurance paid most of it. I stood in my kitchen 6 months after that Costa Rica notification, making coffee in the machine that had been removed for staging and later returned. The morning light hit the ocean the way it always does. Silver gold, clean, honest. My Airbnb calendar was fully booked through next summer. 53 5-star reviews now. Last month's income, $4,600. This year's projected revenue, $52,000 minus expenses minus taxes. I'd started a property management consultation business on the side. Other Airbnb hosts wanted to know how I maintained superhost status while working full-time. The answer was systems, calendars, checklists, vendor relationships, guest communication templates. Things that looked like a hobby to my family but were actually a business they'd never bothered to understand. Patricia Odom from Airbnb had sent me a follow-up email last week. Your case has become training material for our fraud prevention team. Thank you for your documentation and cooperation. My property had become evidence that the systems work, that verification catches fraud, that documentation matters, that institutional protection exists for people who build legitimate businesses. The family group chat still exists on my phone. Muted. 47 unread messages I'll never open. Mom's voicemails pile up every few weeks. Brother sent a text on my birthday, still waiting for you to forgive Dad. I'm not waiting for anything. I'm booking guests, managing maintenance, depositing income. I'm building something they tried to steal but couldn't erase. The ocean sounds the same every morning. Waves hitting sand, pulling back, hitting again. Reliable. Measurable. Dad wanted to teach me that achievement without family approval means nothing. Instead, he taught me that achievement survives family sabotage. The beach house is still mine. The business is still growing. The systems still work. And I don't need their permission for any of it.